If you've clicked on this video, you're after a beginner's tutorial, what is Sorare, a Sorare explainer guide, whatever it might be, and this is the right place for you. This is my 6th season playing Sorare, and over the last 5 or 6 years, Sorare has went through a few different versions, a few teething problems, a few growing pains, but it has really refined itself in now to being a one-stop shop fantasy football game. Everything that's on Sorare is an officially licensed card. They basically just make football cards of all the biggest leagues and clubs around European and world football. And those cards are used for one thing and predominantly one thing only, and that is playing them in fantasy football. In the video today, I'll explain to you how you win money playing the game, how you actually do play the game, and give you some top tips and hints for scouting and IDing players for your own squad. But if you're brand new and you've not even opened up your account yet, Sorare love the content here at Quinny 3001, and they've given me an exclusive link. That link, you're not going to find it anywhere else. It's in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. If you click on that link and open up your account directly, you're going to get yourself 150 euros, pounds, dollars, whatever your currency is, of market credit to go out and build your roster with. By clicking on that link, you do support me and all the content that's here at the channel, so I'm sincerely grateful and thankful if you do so. But if you do get stuck, or if you've got any questions, just jump into the comment section and I'll be there to help you out. Now, if you do open a Sorare account without clicking on that link, you're going to be $150, pounds, euros, whatever it is, behind everyone else. So it sincerely does give you a great head start, a great advantage in the game, and it goes a long way to supporting me, so everyone's a winner really, isn't it? At any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do hit like and subscribe for more content like this, and get into the comment section if you don't get stuck, and just let me know your thoughts, feelings, expectations, excitement, whatever you've got coming into the upcoming season. But yeah, let's just get stuck straight into this one, because the first thing most people want to know about is how do you actually win money, how do you actually make money from playing Sorare. Now, Sorare has got two fantasy football kind of arms, as it were. We've got 5-a-side and we've got 7-a-side. The 5-a-side mode is what's called in-season, and this is where all the cash can be won. Depending on what league you buy your cards for, you will enter a league-specific competition for either the Premier League, for Liga, La Liga, the Bundesliga. If you choose cards from any other league, they go into kind of regional pots that are called Challenger and Contender. Challenger is essentially the other big European leagues that's not those top 4 that we mentioned, and then Contender is the rest of the world, essentially. Mexico, Argentina, Croatia, all those kind of countries are in there. MLS does get its own league-specific competition, the same way the Premier League and La Liga does as well, just as a little footnote. But with your in-season team, you'll compete on these leaderboards to win cash or other in-game items against other competitors in the game. And on top of that, you don't need to do anything else. This will be for the same lineup that you put into your competition. You are eligible for what's called hot streaks, and all you need to do to achieve these is hit a set points target, and you'll be paid a fixed cash amount. String those scores together and improve them consecutively week on week, and those payouts grow and grow and grow. Now, in the early stages of the season, there's some super bonuses that are on the hot streaks where they're absolutely on steroids, and the payouts are giganormous to kick the season off. I do expect this to come back in different stages and different guises as the season goes on, but if you're looking to win money from playing Sorare, in-season competitions is the way to do it. A lot of people can make money from playing Sorare as well by simply buying and selling cards on the market. For the market credits you get for being a new sign-up, or if you're looking to buy in-season competition cards, you'll be looking at the auctions and the instant buy tab. But the manager sales tab is what we call the secondary market, and these are cards that are for sale that are owned by other users. So you yourself could buy guys that are maybe injured or you think are undervalued in the market, and then try and sell them on for a profit. So there is that kind of angle into the game as well. A lot of people really do enjoy the trading aspect of the game. Now, when it comes to the actual fantasy football side of it, of what is the game and how does it actually work, it's 5-a-side fantasy football. You need a goalkeeper, a defender, a midfielder and a forward, and then you can choose one other player that's of any position that's not a goalkeeper. Every one of those players run on the Sorare scoring matrix, and this has been, for me, one of the most revolutionary parts of the game, because it really accurately shows players that have put in a good performance, whether they score lots of goals or not. It really does highlight and amplify individual players' contribution within the game. There's over 200 statistics that are captured from Opta to make up the scoring matrix, and quite simply, it falls into 2 categories. We've got decisive score, which starts at 35 for everyone that gets onto the pitch, whether that's from the start or off from the bench. And if they get a positive decisive action, which is a goal, an assist, a penalty won, a clearance off the line, or a last man tackle, or even a penalty won, then their score will move from 35 to 60. And then for every positive decisive thereafter, it moves up in increments of 10. So it'll go from 60 to 70, 70 to 80, etc. depending on how many positive decisive actions that they score. There is also negative decisive actions. We have an OG, we have conceding a penalty, and we have the red card, of course. The other half of the scoring goes into what we call all-around scoring, and this is where all the little micro actions in the game, all the Opta statistics really comes into it, and then both of those scores are put together to get the player's complete score. Florian Wirtz, who's on screen here, scored a goal, did a bunch of other stuff in the match as well, like, played 10 balls into the box, got 5 points for that. Had a shot on target, get 3 points for that. Had 53 accurate passes, which is incredible. But overall, he lost a lot of points with possession lost a fair amount of duels. And ultimately, his all-around score actually became negative. But because he got this decisive score with a goal, it guarantees him a minimum of 60. If we look at someone here like Leroy Sané or even Josko Gvardiol, you can see how it works in the reverse as well, where they get that minimum score guaranteed of 60 points. And then because all their other contributions have been net positive, it adds more and more points, more and more score onto their score, if that's the right way of saying it. Now, I've recently did a few different tutorials on building a team and different tactics for squad construction. If you're interested in those videos, they'll be linked in the description of this one as well. So I'm not going to go through strategy of playing 2 defenders or 2 forwards or anything like that. But it's very, very simple. Every player can score between 0 and 100 points depending on their in-game performance. And because of the amount of statistics that are captured, sincerely, anyone that actually plays football has a viable option of being in your squad. Now, not everyone is the best choice for your squad, obviously. Some players do perform better than others. There's no getting away from that. But sincerely, if they do play often enough and they start games and they're good at football, more of them in this game have a reason to be used than in any other fantasy football game where it's all about set piece takers and goal scorers. And yeah, that stuff is really valuable even in this game, but it's not necessarily the be all and end all, which is an element of the game I've always found really appealing. I find this scoring matrix very accurate for showing players that are going above and beyond and really are putting a good performance there on the pitch, and you really do feel when you clock a good score together that your players have really earned it on the pitch as well, which is lovely. And in every team that you pick, you get to select your captain. The captain bonus can range from 20% to 50% depending on what the competition is, and if you can absolutely smash like I did here with Gvardiol and get your captain to bring in a clean 100 points, that is really the cherry on top of the cake, the ultimate captain choice. This team here scored 502 points to finish me 11th before last season ended, and as you can see here on the breakdown, I got 129 points extra down to card level XP, collection bonus and captain choice. Now, the other side of the game is SO7, which is 7-a-side fantasy football. There is no cash rewards for playing this game mode. All this game mode rewards is more cards or more in-game items, but the cards you can use for this competition can be from any season at all, and because the in-season cards are the only ones that can really win money, I know you can play one older card with 4 in-season ones of course, but by and large the cards that are out of season, the cards that are classic as we call them, are a lot cheaper than the ones that are in the current season. And like I say, it's SO7, so you need to have 2 defenders, you need to have 2 midfielders, you need to have 1 forward, 1 goalkeeper, and you only get 1 extra spot to play a player of any different position. And for the upcoming season, the 3 core SO7 competitions that will be available every weekend of the season is All-Star, like you can see on screen here. You can use players from all around the world. Champion Europe, which is from the top 5 leagues in European football. Serie A does creep back into the mix, but also under 23s, which is the Wonder Kid division as I like to call it. The only players that are eligible to be in that competition is ones that are 23 or younger as of the 1st of July, and the only cards that it rewards in there is more players of the same age bracket. So it's the proper Wonder Kid, the proper Scout division. A lot of Sorare scouts and managers have a lot of fun with that. Now, Sorare have got 5 different cards available. They've got the common cards, which is the free-to-play game mode where you can just open up some packs and, there's a whole different free-to-play mode that only goes with the common cards. Again, I'll have another video on the channel that I'll have linked in the description of the video if you're interested in playing Sorare for free, playing the free mode to get yourself up and running. Other than the commons, the entry level, the cheapest Sorare cards that are available are called limited. They're yellow in colour, as you can see on screen here, or gold. Every season, Sorare will release a maximum of 1,000 limited cards per player. Around 50-60% of them will be sold, and the other 40-50% of them are given away as rewards. So the most any player will get a card for in limited any season will be 1,000 at an absolute maximum. Now, to be honest with you, I've seen very few, if any, players get all the way to 1,000 limiteds being issued. But like I mentioned, that's a mixture of because of they only sell so many and then they reward the rest. So if people don't win the rewards, I guess they just kind of go on ice. And in years gone by, again, Sorare don't sell every card that they can, but they sell as many as they can, obviously. And the limiteds, for the most part, like I say, they're the entry-level cards that cost relatively nominal amounts of money. The prices you do see on screen here now are early season, and generally prices come down week on week on week because people want to have their cards in for the beginning of the season to have as much utility in them as possible to win money, hit hot streaks and all that kind of thing. And you know, when your players get 38 games in the season versus when they've got 30, they're obviously at a bit of a different price point, aren't they? As other people win cards, they look to sell them in the market and they'll look to sell them at a price that someone's happy to pay for a quick sale. So as time goes on, cards get cheaper and cheaper, and limiteds can be found for as little as £1 is 80p. Some of them can be quite expensive, of course, the better players in the game, ones that are brand new. But overall, this is the entry-level card that most people can find affordable and start to build their first teams with. Now, in terms of price point, rares are, in the main, just a little bit of a step up from limited. Maybe not as much when we're talking about the in-season cards. Like I say, at point of recording, we've just had the Premier League drop, so it is battle stations for these cards before the season ends because they've got a 5 times multiplier on the hot streak rewards to start the season off. But rares will get, each player will get a maximum of 100 rares across the season, and like I say, about half of them will be sold, about half of them will be given away. And these are the cards that I mainly play with, and these are the cards that I think are for the more enthusiastic player, the one maybe you've just got a bit of a bigger budget, but these cards do win and are available to win more money than what the limiteds are because there's less of them and generally they cost a little bit more. But between limited and rare is where you're going to find the 99% of the Sorare players actually playing with. And depending on your appetite for the game and your budget will probably dictate, do you end up being a limited player or do you end up playing with rares. Now for people that have got a much bigger budget, a much bigger appetite, there's also super rare cards. Now super rares will only be 10. There'll only be 10 of them per player per season, and the reward payout for this is again even bigger than what it is for the rares and for the limiteds. This is quite an exclusive club. The cards are mad expensive for comparison to rares and limiteds, and because you do need to buy a squad, you need to have a 5-man team and some depth to maybe cover for injury and whatever. It's a whole different kettle of fish to what we find at rare and limited. And the 5th and final card type that Sorare has is what's called a unique. Now these things are generally got very nice designs. We've not got the new season design yet. Sorare need to wait for media day to happen with all the leagues and clubs that are licensed, because all these cards are official merchandise of Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Celtic, PSV, Feyenoord, whatever you want to think of it as. So they need to do their media day, get their pictures. They send that to Sorare. Sorare then show them the card designs. They need to send it back to get approval, and then we get the cards. In years gone by, Sorare used to take ages before we would get new season cards. So nowadays they do early access, so we can get them instantly, and then those pictures can be revealed later on in due time. And in the meantime, we've had the cards, we've been able to play with them and have all this sort of fun. So I'm genuinely really excited to see what the unique design is going to be for these cards. But they are what they sound like. They are unique. Each player will only get one unique per season on Sorare, and again, they just go into a different stratosphere of the prizes and the money and everything else that's accessible for having and owning these cards. Sorare don't just pay out money and in-game items, but because they are officially partnered with all the leagues and clubs that are on the game, they get access to VIP experiences. Money can't buy stuff. We've seen Sorare managers meet Mbappe, play football with Zidane. I've played football at Anfield myself. They also give away stuff like signed jerseys, match tickets, VIP match tickets, that sort of thing. And, you know, for getting good limited and rare collections, which we'll talk about in the video, you can access that stuff. But if you do go for super rares and uniques, you're pretty likely to get some of that VIP treatment as well. Now, every card that you buy, you own for as long as you want to keep it, really, until you sell it. And Sorare allow your cards to be used every season. And one of the things I've really enjoyed about this game over the years is it really doesn't matter where people are actually playing anymore. If you own the card, you can use them. So as players transfer and progress through their career, you can really go on that sort of journey with them. And as you can see with a bunch of these cards that are on screen now, this is the sort of thing that I really do enjoy about the game. We can follow someone like Jeremy Doku from, you know, he's got cards from all the way back when he was at Anderlecht at 16 or whatever. But Camavinga, Doku, these guys have obviously moved on. They're still playable for me. I can still use them in fantasy football regardless of what team they're in. Kevin De Bruyne moving to Napoli is actually really exciting all of a sudden. And again, this Man City, De Bruyne can be used really no matter where he's playing. as long as it's an Opta covered league. But all the cards, because you do own them, they're your cards, say, until you sell them. There's a few different ways you can actually get more out of every player. You can get more out of every point that they score. Every card has like levels on it, like any computer game character would. It goes from 0 to 10, and for every one of those levels, you get a 1% bonus on whatever the points score that they get. So for example, you'll see my Kevin De Bruyne here is at level 6, so he gets a 6% bonus on every score that he makes, because I've played him enough times, I've leveled him up over the years or whatever. But you also have what's called a collection bonus. Now this De Bruyne only gets 1% collection bonus. What is the collection bonus, I hear you asking? The collection game on Sorare is essentially their sticker books. And as you'll see from the sticker books I've got a few big Celtic collections and a few other ones dotted around European and world football. But in a similar way to the levels working on the card is the same kind of deal for this. Every card that you own gets collection points, and depending on what type of card it is and how you got it, as you'll see on screen here, you get a different amount of points attributed to it towards your sticker book. And if you look at the little bar at the bottom, you can see once you accumulate X amount of points, what the collection bonus is. Now that maxes out at 5% for limited and rare cards, and that is applied to every single card that's in the collection. Even if you go and get 2 or 3 copies of the same card in that collection, they will all get that bonus in kind. The schedule kind of varies throughout the summer, but when we're in the main season, Sorare run 2 game weeks for each calendar week, which will mean we've got a game week over the weekend, normally starts on a Friday, ends on Tuesday morning, and then when the Tuesday morning one ends, we then have a midweek game week that finishes on the Friday morning. You need to have your team submitted and entered before the deadline or you do not play, but Sorare has opened up a new game mode called the Arena, and that's got its own options to play in as well. You don't need to have in-season cards to play this. I'm sure there will be in-season special ones that they'll roll out throughout the year, but these Arena teams can be played at any time. You can play them as soon as you see the team sheet. You can wait for team news to come out, and then in the Arena, once you submit your team, you'll be put into a pool of 10 other people, you plus 9. So you're playing against a much smaller field. You have to submit some essence, which is Sorare's equivalent of like crystals and shards or whatever. If you get enough essence, you can turn it into a card. So if you want to use a little bit of essence, you can actually submit teams into what's called the Arena, and then you can actually win even more essence from that by beating the other 9 people in the table. And you don't need to worry about deadlines and all that kind of stuff. You can just wait for lineups to come out before playing this one. Now, essence is won in the game in a variety of different ways. You can win it from virtually every game mode, and once you save up enough essence, you can just craft that, as the terminology is in the game, but you can basically transform it into a real card. That card, as soon as you craft it, you can sell it, you can keep it, you can do anything you want with it. And because Sorare only pay out the actual top cards on the leaderboard for card rewards, this is most people's main route to go for actually winning and gaining cards out of the Sorare ecosystem from playing the game week in, week out. I should probably add at this point, the midweek game weeks last year, Sorare put a massive cash prize place pot out for Champions League special weeklies, or special midweeks or whatever, as well as Europa League, Europa Conference League, that sort of thing. Virtually every international game is covered as well, except for friendlies, things like Nations League, Copa America, Euros, World Cup, all this thing is in it. And again, it's the same cards that are used for all of these competitions. Now, this isn't like XP, captain choices, or collection bonuses or anything like that, but one of the new methods that Sorare's put into the game for people to just get more out of their cards is what's called vaulting or sealing, or as some of us like to call it, slabbing, where you take cards that you're not using anymore, maybe they're retired, maybe they're injured, maybe they're just rubbish, and you vault them, you seal them. You cannot use them, you cannot sell them, but the more cards that you vault and seal, they've all got individual values, so sealing a better player is worth a lot more vaulting points than sealing a rubbish player, if that makes sense. But this goes on a scale from 0 to 20. And once you get up all the levels, if you were to get all the way to level 20, you would have to vault a hell of amount of a card, don't get me wrong. But the more cards you seal, the more cards you vault over time, you get a boost all the way through this system here. And that increases the amount that you win. So if you were to actually win any money on Sorare, that money will be multiplied by, for me it's 3%, for you it could be anything. Same with market credits, and the same with essence as well. And this just helps you be rewarded even more so for having a big collection and for having a lot of cards in your gallery. And this is something that will maybe play a part in your Sorare career, journey or whatever as time goes on. It's very rare that people will be vaulting cards that they're using, or if you've just started out, you'll have enough excess cards to put away to one side. So this is maybe something that you kind of grow into as the game moves on for you. Sorare has rolled out some passive gameplay elements that can be very rewarding as well, with missions, whether it be the play missions or the collect missions. Just by submitting your teams and just by doing whatever it is you're doing already, Sorare give away market credits as well as other in-game items for just you playing the game anyway the way you were going to, on top of going for hot streaks and chasing down leaderboards. So if you get some of those close but no cigar situations where maybe your guy scores a hat-trick but someone else in the team really let you down, there's maybe still a little consolation prize that could come your way from that. And another passive game mode that Sorare has introduced to help accelerate managers get up to speed, level their cards up really quickly, is daily decisives. This is available for all the different scarcities in the game, so you just need to choose what one it is you're playing with, and then you pick 3 players every day. You can do this every day, depends on if they've got matches or not, obviously, and you're just looking for 3 guys out of your roster that's available that will get any decisive action. For every one of them that does that, depending on what scarcity of cards you're using, they will get 200 XP. But that just gives you XP into your XP balance, and you can spend that XP on any card that you want. As well as the Sorare Wheel, where every day you can claim a free ticket, and by spinning this once a day for free, you get a 0.02% chance at a really nice limited card, as well as a bunch of other in-game items here, maybe some market credits every single day. Now, once you get 10 of those spins under your belt, you then get access to a golden spin, which has a chance of getting a jersey in it, a star level card, as well as just increased versions of what we've seen in that regular spin of the wheel that we have here. They also do lots of promotions to get these tickets, and you just need to kind of stay up to date with any Sorare promotions to see any promos that they're running with tickets or whatever. But again, this is another lovely kind of passive game mode where you can get in-game items to really accelerate your growth through the game just by logging in and clicking. I hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more content like this. If you are brand new to Sorare and you've not done so, make sure to hit the link that's in the description of this video or in the pinned comment to make sure you get the best beginner bonuses that are available. On screen there now some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. I hope you did enjoy this one. Feel free to jump into the comment sections and let me know your thoughts, feelings, takeaways, any questions, anything you're stuck with. I'm always happy to help out, of course. Have a great day, stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one.